Hello guys and welcome to a new lesson of the Git Basics course of Race Karate. Uh, don't forget to follow me on Twitter as @VastionVilandia. We're also as @Race Karate. Follow us on Facebook. We are on Snapchat as SVilandiaG. I'm also as on Instagram as SVilandiaG. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want us to give you more lessons of this course and new courses, of course, in the future. So let's start. Um, Before continue, go to the article of the video. The link is in the description. Open it up and you will see some of the basic commands we are going to use for this lesson. Of course, open up your Cloud9 workspace we set up in the last lesson. Or if you install Git locally, then open your terminal and start the lesson there. So let's start. In this lesson, we're gonna learn about the staging area and about project history. So in the last lesson, we were making commits. We commit all changes at once. So if I make any kind of change, for example here, hello world, I add a new change to the README file, and great, and I add a new file. So let's create a new file. Let's use the terminal, it's faster. File 1. Okay, so look at this. I changed the README file that is already added to the repository, and I also added a new file called file 1. We can check the status of the project with git status, right? You already know this. Status. Okay, and as you can see, well, I forgot to save here, so let's again. Okay, and as you can see, this is the staging area. It shows us the state of the project. So it says we modified the file reading because it was already added to the repository, and it says that there are untracked files, and the untracked file is file 1. So usually, what we did in the last lesson was to create a commit like this: git commit -am and add a message, or we added the files with git add dot, and we then made the commit. So, but what happened if I want to make two separate commits in these two changes? Because I modified the file readme and I added a file 1. Let's commit this in the normal fashion as we learned. So I git add dot. Now let's git status. So it says that these changes are staged, right? I added to the staging, and it says it gives reset the head to on stage. It gives us some instructions for on stage changes. So here I can commit git commit -am modify readme and added file 1, right? That's what we did. But let's add a new file. I will say file 2, and I'm going to commit it. Git add file 2 and git commit and added file 2, right? Now if I say git status, everything is okay. This is a boring status. Our boring status says nothing to commit, working directory clean, and it says we are in the branch master, but we are gonna learn about branches later, so don't worry about it. Okay, so let's say we made some changes. So in file 1 I change 1. I want to make some changes to file 1, and to file 2 change 2, right? So I did 2 changes, and if I say git status, my git repository, the git status message is that we have 2 modified files that are unstaged. So I want to move these files to the staging area. So what I have to do is to move them, right? So, but I don't want to make one commit for these 2 changes. I want to make 2 separate commits for file 1 for this change and for this change. And let's say I added another change here to the README, another change, right? And if I say git status, I see that now these three changes are unstaged. So let's add a first. We can add files just with the path to the file. So I want to add the file 1 first. So I want to stage file 1. Okay. So I say git add file 1. Right. Now I say git status, and our file 1 is staged. Okay, is inside the staging area, and these two changes are outside. Now, if I say git commit -m, this commit is gonna be applied only to what is in green right here, that are the staged changes, right? So I say git commit -m modify file 1, right? Great, and now I say git status. So now we have these two changes, right? And I can just git commit -am. I'm using the A flag for add files, and change README and file 2. And so I say git status. Great. So as you can see, we added here. We don't need to add file manually. We can say -a and -m for add message. But what it did here is to make more changes and make separate commits. That's very useful, because sometimes you don't want to make just one commit for all the changes you did, and so you want to make separate commits for the changes you did. Usually, if you commit frequently, you won't have to use this feature, but it will save you a lot of time when you want to make complicated or more complex things with your commits. So basically, the staging area will allow you to stage changes and commit separately different changes on your project. If you change two files, then you can decide to make add to the staging area of file 1 and make a commit, and then add to the staging area of file 2 and make the commit, separate commits. Okay, so that's the staging area, and it is very useful when you want also to check the tracked files, and you want to add new files to the repository. So the different ways you can commit are just one commit for all the changes, or adding different files to the staging area, or different changes and make commits separately. Now let's say I want to go back and see how was my project in the previous version. So that's the project history, and let's see how it works. We have a command called git log, okay, and it shows us a list of commits we have made so far. And let's see some of the information it shows us. It shows us commit ID or serial number, the author that we set with the git configuration, the date the commit was made, time and date, the timing, and a commit message. And each you can see that the commit ID is some very long number, very long string, and it means that this unique change is going to be unique. Okay, it means why not it just says commit 1, commit 2, commit 3, commit 4? Why it doesn't say that? Because that's pretty simple, and Git, you know that Git allows us to make copy or clone the repositories. So we need to ensure that this ID won't be the same for another. If somebody else copies our repository, we want this ID to be unique. Okay, so also let's see how it works. With the declare queue, you can get outside of the Git log. I want to move to before we added. Okay, let's go back to the Git log. I want to see something. Okay, so let's go back to the version when we first added the README file. Okay, so we can use the Git Checkout command that will move back to the version we tell to Git. So basically, we don't need to copy all these ID. We just can grab the first 4 characters, copy them, and we can go back to the version. As you can see, file 1 and file 2 disappeared. That's magic, right? And it says a message, a weird message here that just indicates that if you make commits here, things can become weird. Okay, so don't do that. That's more advanced. But basically, we are right now on this version of the project, right? And so we can look how it looked before and so on. Now let's go back to the actual version of the project. Do you remember that we were seeing here master? This is the branch of the project, the head branch. So we can move back to the actual version of the project, just checking the master branch. So Git Checkout master. You don't need know too much about branches right now, because that's something we're gonna cover in the next topics. So we go back to the master branch, and as you can see, we now are in these. We have the 2 files we added, and we are in the last version of the project. Okay. Now, what if I want to check the differences between 2 versions? So let's say git log again, and I'll go back and take a look to this one and this one are the commits we want to compare, or the versions we want to compare. So let's get outside of the log, git log, and let's make git diff and copy the first characters, this one and this one. Okay, great. The output might be seem confusing, but basically it is showing us that the difference between the 2 versions. Well, that's basically all for this lesson. So don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and so on. And see you in the next one. For the next lesson, we'll cover the branching and some other topics important for managing Git. So see you. Bye bye.